It's some Burn&Learns. Hard to believe, but yes, I've done some exercise, and now I want to talk about it. I don't know why. I'm here to gloat, because I actually did some exercise. 45 minutes today. Burn&Learn today. 45 minutes. That's pretty good for me. On the ERG. This is the stupidest name for these things. I don't even know what it stands for, ERG. ERG? Elliptical Rowing MacGuffin. I don't know what I'm not sure what it stands for, but I like to call it my R2C2 because it's a Concept 2 rower. But yeah, Burn&Learn done for the day. I'm kind of excited about that. I still have to walk the dog, but that's you know it's a good chunk of my morning taken care of. All right, I got some coffee. I've got some stream chat stuff happening. I'm going to pop out the chat again just to make sure I can see. I feel like the multi-stream chat, I think, lets me see a couple of people at the same time. Mandy, how the hell are you? Malcolm, first. Oh, not quite, Malcolm. I think you missed it by like that much. But welcome anyways. Let me see if I can get the chats going here. So this is my Burn&Learn. This is my bid to stay alive and fit long enough to enjoy my retirement years with my brilliant, beautiful wife, Jane, fabulous son, Sebastian, and my wretched dog, Huzzah, who I can't stand right now. That beast is just, I swear to God, she's just trying to piss me off at this point. We built planters in the backyard so that the plants would be protected. No, she leaps into those, digs a hole, and lies in it. And then comes in the house and goes and lies on the bed God, you tell her no, she just starts running around in circles and barking at you. I've never had an untrainable dog before, and I got one now. All right, I'm popping out the chat. Pop out the chat. Pop it out. Here we go. I am live, and I am a lumberjack breakfast this morning. I love what I come up with. I make myself laugh. I had so much fun yesterday. I don't know if anyone joined me yesterday. If not, go check it out because it was really fun. I did my first little horror stream, as I would call it. I mean, they're all horror streams in that I'm a horrible, sweaty mess that comes in and talks to you about how I've exercised. But still amazed and very thankful that people actually show up for these things. So today I'm cozied up because it's actually freezing cold. I have moved my rowing machine. So I'm using now, I split. I do some of it I do on the torture device back there, the, what is it, the Smooth Fitness elliptical machine that I have, which I got to say has become, it's almost comforting exercise now because it's not that stressful compared to the ERG, this freaking, oh my God, this horrible torture device that is the Concept 2 rowing machine. Wow, is it tough. I feel it in my back. I feel it in my shoulders. I feel it in my legs. I feel it in my arms. It's a full body. That, by the way, is not the sound of my body creaking. That was actually the sound of the chair, just to be very clear. I'm not that creaky yet, although I might as well be. I actually stretched this morning before I did it because I'm just finding it so tough on my aging body. I'm going to start a retirement stream. I think the horror stream is fantastic. I really enjoyed that yesterday. I think I'm going to start doing more of that. Lance was so funny. Gimpy G immediately got on text and was like, "Dude, you got to do more of that. That was so much fun." As I say, go check it out if you haven't already. But it's basically just I wanted to talk about a bunch of horror movies, and I literally on a whim decided I would do that under a blanket with a headlamp and a flashlight for some reason. But it seemed like the right thing to do at the time. And you know what? I'm gonna trust my instincts more. God, that light's bugging me. I'm gonna turn that off. Hopefully, it's not gonna make things too bad for people. So I need to draw on my inner Caesar Milan. Oh my God, no kidding. I need the dog whisperer so freaking badly. I sort of don't want to like this dog either, though. To be honest, I mean, Huzzah is. Admittedly, I spend more time with Huzzah than anyone else does. I probably end up walking her more than anyone else. She's constantly underfoot. Like she obviously like the cat she thinks she is. Cats are always drawn to people who don't like cats. Well, same thing with kids. It's a bit of a McKay thing happening there. Where just like I'm being followed around by this fuzzy love machine that as soon as you pay it any attention, doesn't do a thing you ask it to. Anyways, what do we got before? Good afternoon from Sarstead, Lower Saxony. Oh, fantastic. Shortly before 5 p.m. Did you ever watch The Handmaid's Tale, filmed in Toronto? I'm now in season 5. You know, I've never seen it, The Handmaid's Tale. Never watched it. I know it films here. I've seen them filming. Good morning from Montreal. Oh, bonjour. Montreal. Mon ville favori. I love Montreal. I love that place. Got to figure out the language thing, though. I must say, you know, I attempt to speak French where and when I can. Usually get laughed at, and we end up in English. But yeah, the language laws are getting weird in Quebec, and I feel like they're instead of sort of supporting this wonderful French culture that exists there, I feel like it's actually I think turning people against the concept. It's weird. Now that said, I don't experience it when I'm there. Like I go for Fantasia as a tourist. I love it. It's great. I will say I resent that my breakfast cereal is in French and English, and yet when I get to Quebec, everything's in frickin' French. But, whatever. Get yourself a balanced trainer. You don't have dog problems. Your dog has people problems. I promise. I've been training dogs for 35 years. Daniel RBB, I'm with you. I've had dogs for, God, how long have I had dogs now? 20 years, something like that. And I was pretty good at training both. I mean, I trained Mars within an inch of its life. Newton before that. Newton, a fantastic dog. But Huzzah is a pandemic dog, and pandemic dogs, like pandemic humans, struggle, because I feel like the entire time we had her, you know, when you saw someone coming towards you on the sidewalk with or without another beast, you would sort of like cross over or go out of the way and stuff, not used to people coming by. Used to things being sort of dropped off at the door instead of someone coming in the door. So there's a lot of issues there. Also, like I said, she's not a dog. Like, she is a dog. Physically, she's a dog, but she's running cat software. Like, so she's just her own. She perches on ledges and things like a freaking like Siamese cat of some sort. But no, she's a giant freaking fluffy mutt, whatever the hell. Anyways, French is too hard for me. English is easy to learn for me as a German guy. Well, yeah, yes, it's true. What do they say? Is that French is a romance language, and German and English are just, the German and English just sound horrible. Let's face it, we just sound angry all the time. You mentioned that you still have a good relationship with some of the SGA actors. What about the other actors, SG1, SGU, and especially what is your relationship with Amanda then and now? Oh my God, Iron Man's cutting straight to the Iron Man Veronica is cutting straight to the Q&A here. Amanda Tapping, I absolutely love. She's actually in town now shooting a show. I have attempted to get in touch a few times. She's very busy, but she's always absolutely lovely about getting back, and I'm sure we will see each other when we can. But that woman just works all the time. She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing, and she's a fantastic director because she's a fantastic person in general, just an absolutely freaking lovely light of a wonderful being, and you just want to help her and make things right for her, and she just brings out the best in so many people, even me, and so that, which is I think is a huge skill when it comes to directing and managing people, because I mean directing is just about managing people basically, and also she's just got this wealth of knowledge because she's just been making TV since she was. I don't know how young, honestly, but certainly quite young. But she's been doing it just for forever, and she really knows her stuff. So I remember seeing years ago there was an episode that she directed on SG1, and I saw the episode without knowing that she directed it. But I saw this wonderful shot at the beginning of this. I think it was the beginning. There was an ad break in there somewhere, and I remember seeing this shot and going like, "Wow, that's really." I love that because it was creative. It didn't take me out of the scene, but it was creative in that it was like two people talking around a statue and I think RDA talking to somebody, and the camera just slowly circled this thing, and it was just beautifully done. and I think there was some backlash from production because it didn't look like other episodes or something. I don't know what the problem was, but I think they were just terrified of actors directing. But I remember thinking that was just a wonderful episode of that show it was, and what a great job she did with it. So yeah, huge fan of her, and I see her every chance I get. Honestly, any chance I get, I'll see her. But as I say, we're our I mean, it's the same for everybody. Our schedules are so completely all over the place all the time. I mean, we just never know. I mean, this week, what? this week I'm filming well, I guess I can't tell you what it is. Oh God, I hate film and TV. The great thing about YouTube is you just do stuff. You just do stuff the way you want to do it, and you make stuff. And I want to hide under a blanket with a headlamp and a flashlight and talk about horror. Great, that's what I do. But no, I'm working on a new show, and I have some grisly things to do on Friday. So late at night in, I think it's Grimsby, Ontario or something, I'm going to be lying in an alley doing, having a hell of a night. Anyways, I've definitely, cat running. It's definitely a dog running cat software, that's for sure. Very, very true. What else we got here? Do you believe the ancient alien theory? No, I don't. Scarlet Ann? No, I do not. I do not believe that. I think it's a skeptics thing for me. I would love, oh my God, I would love to believe that some alien race had come down and helped us build things. But the reality is, I think we've got that ingenuity in us. I think we are able to do that, especially if we're willing to, crush thousands of people in the process. We're ruthless in our pursuit of the future, and I think that we're capable of doing all that stuff. I don't think there's any basis for that kind of stuff. Does that mean I'm right in saying that? No, it's just that from what I see and what I've read about it. I mean, one of the first books I got, I remember, was Mysterious Monsters, and it was this wonderful book that talked about about Bigfoot and photos of the Bigfoot and all about it was like a, what do they call it, like zoonotics or whatever, I don't know what the term is, but basically sort of for these weird animals that don't actually exist. But it was written like a science book about Bigfoot, about Loch Ness Monster. I was obsessed with the Loch Ness Monster. Oh my God. I'm still kind of obsessed with it. Not that it's there, but just I loved all the technology around it. I find the whole deep water thing very creepy. And then it had Noah's Ark as well as one of the other things that it had in this thing. And the book was written like it was true. Like all of these things were true. And look, they may be, but it seems highly unlikely to be that aliens were here teaching us anything. I'm a big believer in panspermia. I do believe that there's a very good chance that we could be flotsam and jetsam that has drifted, onto a forming planet or something, or potentially. And I loved this the other day. We were having this wonderful discussion with Rob from ESA, Ross Postuma. I don't know if I get his name right, but wonderful guy that I talked about 3D printing metal in space with the other day. And you can check that out too if you want to go check that out. I'm with Genius. It's my first episode of I'm with Genius. It's like my test run at it. And one of the things that came up was like, what if we are the tendrils? What if we are? I mean, we represent Earth, right? I mean, we were born here, we were created here, we developed here, we evolved here, and we are now looking to get off the planet. I've always been very anti the idea, not always, but recently I've got to the point, my jaded old grumpy Stargate scientist approach has been that I'm like, we can't even figure this planet out. Like this planet that was designed specifically beautifully for us, that we literally grew up as a part of and grew out of, and we can't keep this place, ticking over. You think we should go to other planets? That seems more like a cancer than anything else. So I've always thought of us as this horrid blackening cancer spreading across the solar system. Because until we get faster than light travel, I don't see how we're going to do much more than that. But I always sort of saw us that way. I'm now beginning to wonder, what if we are that little green tendril? What if we're that, like what if we are the Earth's tendrils reaching out beyond its own biosphere? And there's something slightly less terrifying about that. Although I'll tell you, I've got to do a time lapse photography of the vines out here in the backyard of Casa Hewlett because I swear to God, you sit down and read like half an article and the plants have started winding themselves around you, like they grow so freaking fast. There's a horror movie. Oh no, can't talk horror. Can't talk horror unless I'm huddled under a blanket. But I'm gonna have to put that. I'm gonna jot them down. There was I think it was called The Ruins. I have to look it up. But that's another one I want to talk about because that was a really fun film. Oh, this is something else I've been doing with my time. These little, I think incriminating there. No, I've just been doing these doodles, and I listed a couple of really interesting sort of podcasts or YouTube things about creativity and about art and about how do you monetize the process of creativity. Like, I mean, I've always been sort of, I guess what they would call more of a creative than an industrialist or anything. I'm not terribly good at the business side of stuff. But I do love the process of creating and fixing and building and all this kind of stuff. And one of this wonderful, crazy young hippie artist guy talking about his experience. I'll have to look up who it was because it's really interesting. This guy was working for an artist and he was complaining about, like as he said, he was like full of teen angst. And this really sums me up very well, actually. But, in your early 20s and you're like, the world is broken and, why does no one realize how brilliant I am? And, I keep trying all these things and nothing works and why does no one understand how the true genius that is Hewlett? And finally, one day, this guy that this young gentleman was working for sort of snaps at him and says, like, look, here's the deal. One day you're freaking drawing, one day you're painting, the next thing you're sculpting, then you're doing video art installations, then you're doing podcasting. Like, what the just like you're gonna suck at everything. Like, if you're gonna do everything, it's that whole was it the master of none, the whole idea of like jack of all trades, master of none. The idea was that this guy was flitting from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, and so was always at this 10%. And that's what actually Casey Neistat talks about this as well. Fantastic YouTuber who basically committed to like, I'm making a video a day for a year or whatever it was. And that of course turned into this massive career. But anyways, point being is that if you're only doing something at this very sort of beginning level all the time, you're just scratching the surface of this stuff, of course you're not good at it. Why would you get recognized for that if you're just like one day you're a painter, the next day you're a sculptor? I mean, like, so what this artist said, so of course, this guy has been, gets sort of shut down by his boss and goes like, well, what do I do then? And in exactly the same voice that I would give to him at it. And the guy's like, just pick something. Just pick one thing. Like, just draw one thing every day for like a year. And he's like, what? That's the stupidest thing ever. But he does it. And it's just such a smart idea. I'm not taking it quite to that extreme because I think at this point I do it sort of more for fun than I definitely do it for fun. I can't imagine it being a commercial venture at all. But one of the things that came up when I started looking at how to draw, I thought, well, I'll draw robots. I don't know why, but I thought robots would be fun to draw. Like if I draw a robot every day, it's a good way to practice my squares and circles and triangles and things. And also, I didn't realize this, but literally draw squares, circles, and triangles. Like just get to the point where you can draw those basic shapes without even thinking and accurately or somewhat accurately. Because those are the building blocks to any kind of drawing that you're going to do. I've always wanted to draw. I've always been very jealous of people who could take the mess in their head and put it onto paper, in any form. Writing, filmmaking, poetry, art. God, it's just amazing that. I mean, the problem with acting is you can't just act. you can't just go and, forsooth, it doesn't, no one wants to see that. You have to be a part of a production. You have to be a part of a film or a play or whatever that all just requires so many people. And I so crave solitude so much. I find that the Hewletts, maybe it's not all Hewletts, but certainly this Hewlett, I need the recharge. I need the recharge time. I need to be on my own. I need to be on my own. I feel like almost more and more these days. That said, I love the time I get with Jane when she's not busy on her film stuff. And I love when Baz comes home and is chatty about, soccer or whatever. I mean, I love those moments. I never want to go out. When I do go out, I always enjoy it. I've got like a birthday party tonight that of course I don't want to leave the house. I'm like, well. But the reality is I know what will happen is I'll go there and I'll see all my wonderful friends and have a great time and be a better person because of it. But so you definitely need the mix. But I just the idea of being able to have an art that you can do in solitude is, oh my God, that just is like, I imagine maybe it's some kind of platonic ideal of perfection that I will never achieve, but I just love that idea. Like, imagine being able to go and just, I see Wexter doing it with the 3D prints, which reminds me, I want to do one of his Halloween prints this year. Wexter's got this fantastic Patreon that you should go check out. He does the most beautiful 3D designs, and he always goes crazy at around Halloween because he gets to do all these fun things. He's got a face hugger that I just think it'd be so much fun to have a big face hugger as or like maybe 3D print, maybe I'll 3D print the face hugger and stick it on a pumpkin. Actually, that'd be really good, actually. Anyways, so just the idea of being able to just create without a huge amount of rigmarole and processes and people and expense and anyway, so that's definitely my part of it. I grew 08. I deal with extreme social anxiety and depression mostly because of ADHD and autism. I feel the statement of needing solitude. It's interesting. So that's a part of that as well, is it? Look, I think especially with males, I feel like there is a there's both a value to it and also a danger to too much solitude. Like, I think we can get weird if we're not around people for too long. I think we go a little mountain man weird if we are not forced into human interactions to a certain extent. And I worry sometimes with the ADHD and depression approach that you need to step out of your comfort zone. Like I need to take my own advice here. I mean, I fight my wife all the time on this stuff. She's constantly, she is a social being in the most lovely way. She just, she thrives on being around other people and helping other people and talking to other people. I just don't. I just don't. I like other people. And the best description of me is probably Jimmy Key, Crow Scratch, who's got a new book coming out, by the way, which you should get, volume 8 of his fabulous Tales from the Haunted Library series. Oh my God. There's Madison Bane, Werewolf Detective. I'm telling you, so much fun. So much fun. So just go buy all 8 of those. They're fantastic. Yeah, I do think, anyway, so he would refer to me as an extrovert hermit. So, my resting state is complete hermit. But when I get out, I play to the crowd. I do open up and I do enjoy myself, often begrudgingly, but I definitely enjoy it. It's one of the reasons why I think I struggled with alcohol for so long, was because not struggle is the wrong word, but that I felt that I needed that as a crutch. That it took away some of the social anxiety and allowed me to, I thought, more be myself. When I stopped drinking entirely, I discovered I didn't need it. That it was purely just a state of mind. There are just different ways of resetting that didn't require drugs or alcohol. I've since gone back to. I do have the odd drink now, and I really quite enjoy it. But I feel like I'm doing it now as a choice rather than as a sort of default public mechanism type thing. So, if you have a robot rowing a boat, do you have a rowboat? A robot. Very good, Opal Mist. Very good, very good. The crowd freaks me out. I start looking for escape routes. Yeah, me too. Me glow maniac. There's definitely, yeah. And that's got worse since the pandemic. That's got worse since 9/11. It's got worse since the pandemic. I am, even shootings. I mean, shootings in mainly in the States, but elsewhere as well. I definitely find my anxiety, and there's like, if you want to find things to be terrified of, there's plenty of them out there. I just feel like a lot of this is being fueled by our little bubbles, right? I mean, I think we all feel like, oh my God, the crime and the murders and the danger is all slowly getting closer and closer to us. And the reality in many cases is that, it's a lot of it's just the media we listen to. Of course, unless you live in, God forbid, a war zone of some sort. I mean, that's the other stuff that's, there's many reasons to despair, but I think that, I think in a weird way, I'm such a pessimist. I'm so negative. I so complain all the time. But the reality is, it's all about trying to seek a solution to this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I complain because things don't work properly, and I want to fix them. I want to figure out how. It's like, there's so many smart people out there. Why can we not figure this stuff out? What a part of my Burn&Learn today. I gotta have a sip of coffee. Sorry. Here you go. This is a delicious half-ass, as they call it. My half-ass coffee, because it's half caffeinated. So it stops me from becoming a giant jittery wreck. Well, in order to become a giant jittery wreck, I have to drink twice as much coffee. So, yeah. All right, what was I talking about? I've forgotten now. The longer you live, the more you look around, the more you realize something is effed up. George Carlin. Yeah, I mean, I think as you get older, also you're in a weird way, you've had your experience have expanded your view of the world. And as you get older, for some reason, you start focusing back in again on often the negative. And I think it's one of the I felt like at a certain point in my life, I had a choice. And that choice was whether I wanted to be alone, like forever. And I don't mean like, never date or never have a partner or anything. No, I didn't mean never have a partner. I mean, I really, for a long time, felt that I was better by myself. I didn't want the, I found it was, you get more done, you get more of the stuff you want to get done. Partially because of meeting Jane, I just found that, if you aren't pushed, if you don't push the bounds of things, you're not always the best judge of this stuff. And so my fear is getting older, especially when people are getting old alone, there's a tendency to get very sort of blinkered and sort of eccentric in your little sphere, your little what do they call it? God, there's a great term someone was using for it, bespoke reality, which I think is a fantastic term. Bespoke reality. You are living in a bespoke reality when you are basically just only accepting the things that are, are your own belief system, basically. So I think we a lot of us suffer from that as well. I'm very fortunate to live where I do, USA, and have a loving family. I know all my issues are just inside my skull. I think a lot of our issues are inside our skull, but but the USA, like Canada, like a lot of other places, I mean, there's a lot of problems to work out. I think and I'm very curious to see what happens with the election coming up in the United States. I mean, I'm American, I'm Canadian, and I'm British, so I have passports for all three of those. I feel like I can complain about three different countries, all in one language. Um, but yeah, I definitely. I mean, there's a lot of issues in the States right now. Um, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure they'd come into play that much about us. The fact that we've stayed up in Canada. I mean, our goal was we were supposed to come up to Canada, make a film, and then basically we're going to head back down to the States again. And we got up here, and we got sort of sucked into this crazy vortex of Canadian filmmaking, which is just a whole other weird political mess. But it's also, it just felt like a better place for the kid, I loved Santa Monica. I loved it. But there were a lot of like school lockdowns for active shooters outside because of road rage or whatever. Or, I mean, and not that we don't get our share of stuff here. There's a lovely story I have of my son when we first got here. He was in elementary school, and they did. He came home one day and he said, "We had a lockdown drill today," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Oh God," I guess I got to talk to him about this. And I'm like, "Canada, we have to worry." Oh God, I guess we do. Whatever. And I said, "Okay, so you understand what that's all about?" And he goes, "Yeah, no, they explained it to us." And I was like, "Okay, all right. So, well, explain it to me. What's the deal?" And he goes, "Well, if a sick squirrel, literally, if a sick squirrel came into the school by accident, it would probably be confused. And so we can't make a lot of noise. We don't want to scare it and freak it out because it could like run around and maybe it could scratch someone by accident or something. So we all have to be quiet, and we have to lock the doors to make sure that the squirrel doesn't get in. And that was how they learned about lockdowns here. And Jesus, I get choked up even thinking about it. It is shocking to me that one of the leading causes of child mortalities in the States, from what I understand, and please tell me if I'm wrong, is weapons, is guns. And I'm not saying that I don't know what the solution is, and I frankly don't want to debate it. I just think there is something so horrifically wrong with the system that this kind of stuff is happening in. It just feels like, there's something so wrong about that, and just especially when you have like a kid up here explaining this stuff to you about about sick squirrels. Now, just to lighten this up a little bit, the next week there was a lockdown at the school because a squirrel got in. Like literally, there was literally a squirrel. A squirrel ran in. I'm sorry, but a squirrel ran into the school. They had to initiate the lockdown procedure because they didn't know if it was rabbit or what the deal was. But anyways, oh God, that just makes me. Okay, there you go. So I've almost cried because I was upset, and now I'm crying because I was laughing so hard. Yeah, I just think. I think that, yes, while a lot of the problems are in our head, unfortunately, that's not where the results occur. So I think we gotta work some stuff out. Those damn squirrels. You are correct, and it's sickening, and it's preventable. God. If it's preventable, then why don't we stop it? I don't understand. But fear of rabies, yeah. I'm not sure. Do we have rabies up here? I guess we must have rabies. We've got my friend James is obsessed with distemper. If you ever see a raccoon out in the day, it's like, distemper! Stay away from it. Guns are a cultural thing in the U.S. It would be hard to divorce Americans from them, so the next best solution is greater regulation. Guns are a cultural thing in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, guns are a cultural thing in Canada as well. I mean, Canada has a huge per capita number of weapons. They're all for hunting, basically. That's what, and I think I'd be very curious to know what the numbers are, but the numbers are pretty high. Like, a lot of Canadians have guns. not in the cities that I'm aware of. I think it's, as I say, mainly it's for wildlife control or hunting. So and touch wood, we've had them, but not a lot of incidents with that. I think part of the stuff is perhaps the types of weapons, but it's a weird situation because I think if you're I'm trying to get some inside the heads of people who would be counter to this stuff. Because in my magical unicorn world of fairies and little trolls, I'd love to like wave my fairy wand and all the guns would just go poof. You know what I mean? Like that would be wonderful if we just get rid of guns. I know that's not possible. And also I know the feeling of wanting to have a gun. Like maybe it's a male thing, but I didn't take it seriously, and I didn't pursue it. But when I was living in Washington State, there were times I thought, okay, like what if something goes horribly wrong? How do I protect my family? I'm not a kung fu artist. I can't protect them with my feeble frame. I could bore them to death perhaps, or act them to death. But I there was a part of it that goes like, maybe I should have, like we talked about moving to England, and I thought, well, maybe we need a shotgun for if I'm going to live on a farm in England, then maybe I need a shotgun. I've watched all those horror movies. There's people will come and try to turn me into a witch or sacrifice me to demons. So I definitely understand the need to want to protect yourself. And I've heard horrific stories of people, living in Louisiana and stuff that live in a remote place and had like a home invasion. And they're like, look, if I didn't have a gun, God knows what would have happened. So but they also don't have an AK-47. You know what I mean? Like they have like a shotgun or maybe a handgun or something. I don't know what it was, but I just look, I don't feel like I can have one because I don't feel like I could safely look after it and use it to protect myself because I just don't, and my family, because I just don't, I'm not sure that I would be capable of doing, of pulling that trigger or knowing that, I just don't think, look, certainly me, I can hurt myself. I can hurt myself with my power tools. I think a weapon is probably a bad choice for me. I just wish there was a cool way of non-lethal, a cool non-lethal weapon that made you feel the same kind of powerful gun-like feeling and protected and feeling of well-being that one gets knowing that you've got the biggest, gun in town or whatever, or the fastest gun in town. If there was just a way of doing that in a non-lethal way, it'd be fantastic. I mean, and even better if you could just retrofit them. Because yes, there are horrible people who want to kill people. I get that. I understand that. But I think most of us are just trying to survive, and most of us just don't. Are reacting, are worried. It's fear, so I feel like if there was an alternative, or it was somehow, I mean, God, I keep thinking of the those gloopy guns that you fire goo at people and it covers the gun, and it's what was it? It was in the Invincibles, or what are they called? The whatever that Pixar series was, that wonderful Pixar series about the superhero family. There's a great scene where this guy is weighed down by lots of these little blobs of material. I just thought, oh God, wouldn't it be great if you could do that? Like some kind of a spray foam that would immediately goop up the gun and stop it from working and immobilize your victim. I would love to see them replaced with something else. The rights to bear arms and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, I've sort of stumbled upon this belief that the definition of freedom has become selfishness in many ways. That I think people believe that freedom means they can do what they want, and that is not freedom. you you can't you can't run into a theater and yell fire. You can't do that because people get hurt, people die. That is not a right that you have. And I think that the point of a government is to protect its citizens. And I don't mean that in a military way. I mean that that can be from each other as well. So I feel like everything, there needs to be a certain amount of legislation involved in this stuff. I don't think you want draconian measures on that. I'm never a big fan. I used to consider myself a bleeding heart conservative. Bleeding heart Republican. Since the pandemic, I've definitely moved into a far more, more nurturing government approach. I feel like we should look after each other. I feel like I think our children should have good educations, no matter where they grow up. I think that that we should be able to have enough to eat, no matter where you grew up. And I think that you should be sheltered from the elements, no matter where you grow up. And I know that sounds horribly socialist, which is such a terrible word in the States, I know, but basically we have a system in Canada that attempts to do that. I think badly, to be honest. I think our healthcare system is shambles, and as is our education. I think there are many promises made by our governments that they're not fulfilling those duties properly for us. But I believe in that. I believe that we should look after each other. Healthcare, like people shouldn't be dying on the streets because they can't get into a hospital, whether that's because they can't afford it or because our government hasn't built enough infrastructure to look after it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing in my mind. If it's out of reach for people because they don't have the right insurance, like it happens in the States, I guess. There's not much difference between that and people going to a hospital that doesn't have room for them and tells them to go home and take an aspirin until they can free up a bed. I mean, it's the same result. People are miserable and not looked after well. So education, same thing. I mean, I was complaining the other day about wow, what's going on? It was like a rally race happening outside. The demolition derby happening in the alley behind me. Again, I feel like the government needs to step up in some of these ways. But how do you avoid overreach? And also, how do you do that with governments that seem to be run entirely on money now? Like it feels like money just comes to play into all of these things now. So anyways, I don't know. So I'm going to go and live on a farm with my pig and a tractor and possibly a shotgun. We'll see. Fear each other less. Well, look, this is why I think education is such an important part of this. An educated population makes educated decisions. Well, is capable at least of making educated decisions about governing the country, about dealing with their neighbors, about handling these problems. And my fear is that and certainly that's the case here, whenever there's any threats of cutbacks, it's always to education and healthcare. It's always the same. That they hang that like that's like a sword hanging over the heads of these things all the time. And I'm like, well, what? What about politicians earning more than a couple $100,000 a year? What about, there's just so many other places there's so many other places where that waste could be used towards education. And I say education, I mean, not to be, I don't want education at the expense of everything else, but at the same time, I feel like it's an investment that would just reap such huge rewards going forward. So one of the reasons why I'm obsessed with lifelong learning, why I like doing this Tech Bandit stuff. Talk about annoying. Tech Bandits. So I'm doing a community center thing. I was supposed to do it this Friday. What happens? Well, the first day of filming that I do is this Friday. So I can't do my first freaking Tech Bandits, and I can't do it because it's stupid acting. I gotta get, so everyone's gonna join my Patreon. Everyone's gonna go buy t-shirts. Everyone's gonna go to techbandits.org check out the shop, leave a donation, and eventually I'll make more money online than I do with the acting, and I can just do the acting when I absolutely must, because I love it so much. I am looking forward to this job. This was one of the jobs I turned down another job because it was, well, for many reasons, but I just didn't. It wasn't that great a role. This is a lovely role, very small role in a bigger series. And the money sucks, but and it's only a few days, but it's a great role, and that's what I got into this stuff for, was to play really cool stuff. And I think it's very easy to forget and get caught up in the business side of this stuff. And it's not. I want to enjoy what I do, especially now. I've been doing this for so long. And like I say, I'm seriously thinking about doing like retiring early. Not that I have enough money for that, but like, and by I mean sort of like a modern retirement where you go, where, Jane has this house in England that was left to her by her father, very privileged position for us, for sure. And I feel like Baz needs to go to school, and that's going to be expensive. So perhaps we sell up in Canada and we go back to England and we sort out the house there and sort of reduce our lifestyle and our spending and stuff, and basically go into this sort of cottage industries, self-sustaining little setup. And I think in a way this is kind of laying the groundwork for that. Like my hope is that I would love to build enough of a community around this stuff that it could be viable to do this in a far more regular and sort of business-like way. But who knows? What else we got in here? I must leave. Oh well, Murder Hornet Productions. Get the hell out of here. If you must, get out of here. Enjoy. David, you into gaming at all? I do. The problem with gaming for me is that this slight vertigo that I've had for years, it futzes with my brain, so I get really bad motion sickness with most games. What have I liked? I've really enjoyed some driving games recently. Baz has, God, what is it? Which is the one he has? I don't know which one he has. I have to ask him. He's got one on his PlayStation, which is really fun to play. I can only play it for short periods of time because, again, I get motion sickness. I've really enjoyed. I really enjoy watching some of the stuff that, like, Baz will watch a bunch of videos about how to play certain games and stuff. So I'll often watch those with him as well. But I'm limited in what I can play now. So and honestly I try to. I'm trying very hard to be a little bit more productive with my time. So I've been sort of avoiding them of late. Magic the Gathering. I do love Magic the Gathering. I got to say, I suck at it. I suck at it because I just don't focus on it enough. But every so often, late at night when I can't sleep, I'll pop onto Magic the Gathering, arena and play that, because there's something really fun about. Excuse me. As I cough up a lung, as I choke on my own thoughts. There's just something really fun about the magic, like casting the spells with your. I like the cards. I always loved Dungeons and Dragons. The first computer program I wrote was in BASIC and was a Dungeons and Dragons program that would randomly roll die and pull up these stories that I'd written. So I always loved Dungeons and Dragons, but I never really got into the. There's too many people involved again. I like the solitude of playing with my Commodore 64. So sad. But I've really enjoyed it when I played it. But the cards, is something fabulous about them. I like the tactile feeling of them, and so Arena is not obviously that, but it's pretty. It's the closest thing to a real card game online that I've been able to play. So I really, really quite enjoyed that. I don't know where Pokemon's at on that, but I used to really enjoy the Pokemon game as well. And I have a bunch of those cards. I have a lot of cards. At some point, actually, that's the talk about retirement. Maybe I should go through and sell some cards. Maybe I'll do a live unboxing of the cards that I've got, and people can message me and say, I'll buy that one. Your son should try EverQuest. My son does not need more video games to play. My son is big on, It's weird. He goes back to these. The kids are really weird this way in that they kind of get retro. They go like, oh man, I used to love this game. Like 2 years ago. So they go back. They do Fortnite every so often. They do. He's been doing Elden Ring. He's been doing. I should ask him. I should do a chat with him at some point and find out what games he's really into right now. He's always got something else going. He's one of these kids who plays, weirdly related to me, is never like particularly dedicated to one specific game. Oh, you know what he's loving right now is it's not FIFA, is it? It's the EAFL or whatever the hell it is. The latest version of FIFA soccer. Oh my God, he's obsessed with that. Like absolutely obsessed, and I try to understand all the stats and stuff he's talking about. It's pretty well. Oh my God, I've been nattering on. How long has this been? Oh my God, it's been almost an hour. Jesus. Okay. I'm trying to manage the amount of time I spend on these things, and I should look at the chat for God's sake. All right. Let me go. Have I got? I wonder if I've got the. Do I have the Twitch chat in here as well? I don't know. Being able to forget about the real world and dropping into a fantasy world like SGA did a great deal towards getting through that deployment. Oh wow! Oh, you were deployed. Wow. I mean, look, that's the beauty of science fiction, and in a weird way, to some extent, horror as well, which is my new favorite genre. It's escapism, right? It's there's something. I mean, it's been a long time since I've watched a film and really lost myself in it. I mean, unfortunately, one of the downside of being in the film industry is you tend to, you've seen behind the curtain, right? So you tend to, you tend to make it easier for you to get out of it. But that or a great book or a podcast, like podcasts, honestly, I wander around with a dog giggling along with a bunch of really fun podcast stuff. There's one I was listening to this morning. I don't know if you know The Infinite Monkey Cage. Really, really fun. Brian Cox and what is his name? Is it Ian? Wonderful comedian guy who's partnered up with him, and it's just fantastic. It's learning and entertainment and just a lot of brilliant Brits and scientists from all over the world. It's a great podcast. I've been playing Once Human with David Blue and his community. We're having a lot of fun. Oh, really? What's Once Human? I don't know what Once Human is. There were more people from Atlantis in the C series than I would have expected, but it was a very nice surprise. Oh, I'm glad. Mel Donick. Yeah, it was. Look, that's Jason. I mean, Jason is a absolutely lovely human being who just remembers his friends, and it's great. I mean, I've told this story many, many times, but we were having he and I were not speaking to each other. We had a really nasty fight, and then the C came up, and I was like, I don't want to do a show with a guy we're not even talking to. That's stupid. I don't want to forget that. And they're like, no, we really think you should audition for. You really should put yourself on tape for this. You really should. I was like, whatever, fine. I said, but there's no way I'm doing it unless someone has explained to Jason that I don't want to show up on set and have him go like, what the hell is he doing here, kind of thing. So, well, turns out, not only did I get it, but the showrunner was having a chat, and he goes, that like Jason told us to hire you right off the bat. Like he read the script and went, "Oh, it's Hewlett," and he said, "Yeah, we don't get along, but he's the best." He'd nail it. Yeah, Hewlett would nail it. And so they didn't. And as he told me later, he said, and they didn't listen. They still auditioned a whole bunch of people, anyways. And then they went, "Yeah, Hewlett." So they came back, and but he made that happen. Like Jason made that happen, despite the fact that we weren't even talking to each other then. So I mean, he's a giant, lovely, wonderful man, and I think one of the greatest joys about C for me was first of all, it was a fantastic role, like just brilliant role, so much fun, Tormata, and also I'm friends with Jason again, which is just lovely. It's lovely because I always loved him. We were like oil and water. We were absolute, complete opposites in every way. Still are completely different perspectives on just about everything. But for some reason, just absolutely, we just cracked each other up. Just loved it, and it's sort of lovely to have been able to spend some time with him on that show. It was fantastic. All right. What else we got in here? One of my favorite sci-fi authors, Anne McCaffrey. Yeah. I used to read the Dragon series, that Dragon series, yeah, when I was a kid. Um, you know who else I used to like. I think he went into like some softcore erotica or something. But Piers Anthony, I used to love Piers Anthony. I think purely because of these wonderful. I always loved the covers of his and the titles of their writing. There was the nightmares and they always had these silly play on words that really appealed to me in my mid to late teens, and they were very readable books, and I remember I used to enjoy those. Haven't really kept up with them that much. The other ones I loved, which I think I'd like to revisit now because I think I would probably, for want of a better way, read them better, is the John Wyndham stuff. That came up yesterday on the horror stream. And please do go check that out because I'm thinking about doing that more often because it was so much silly fun. I just came out of there just like, I was so excited after that one. I mean, I enjoy all of these. This is my reward for exercising. And yesterday I was just like, no, you know what? I'm having a crappy day. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I just wanted to sort of just chit chat about horror films because I'd had a couple of discussions with people recently, and Lance had recommended this film Humane, which I still haven't seen. It was just kind of fun to get out there and do that. So yeah, do go check that out. What was after I saw? What is he? After I saw a puppet, it was hard to think of it as Thor again. Yeah, although I got to say they were so good, Miglo Magic. They were so good at puppeting those little things. I remember staying behind. So I'd done my scene. With I've completely blanked on the name. It's ridiculous. Someone will tell me, I'm sure. With one of these wonderful little puppets, and then I was like, what's the etiquette? Like, should I stay? Like, I don't want to leave them to have to do all the lines themselves. Like, should I be here and do the off-camera lines for the puppet? And they're like, it's a puppet. I was like, yeah, but I don't know. Is that like, Anyway, so I effed off and had a sandwich. But, once you realize Thor was voiced by Michael Shanks, it's hard to focus on it as well. Yeah, see, there's a lot, watch, careful of the secrets. Careful of the secrets. Oh, yes, Dragon Riders of Pern. That's right. That was it. And the Xanth, was it the Xanth series? I can't remember if it was the Xanth series or not. It's been so long, I don't remember. Hermione. Was it Hermione? Is that who I was talking to? I can never remember. That was, again, it was so, as hard as it is to imagine this, when you're on set acting with that thing, it's like there's someone there. Like it really was. I mean, there were people there, puppets. And it's a testament to the puppeteers for sure. But just amazing. Just amazing stuff. All right, I'm a lumberjack. Lumberjack dinner. Magic the Gathering's cool. I played that way back in the day. Well, go find your cards because they're worth a fortune, I'm sure, and then send them to me. Tom Bacon, Sunday afternoon in the pub with a box of Magic Boosters. Bliss. Oh, Tom Bacon's. Oh, there you go. That is definitely another point in the let's retire to England phase of my life. Oh my God, that would be so much fun. Go. What they need is, what if I started a trading card store in my local village where I'm going to retire? I can't tell you where because I'll get in trouble. But if I go there, well, I'd have to start advertising too, right? So you'd know where I was. So there's this little town where Jane's dad's house stands, and currently it's rented out, and I think flooding. But anyways, so yeah, I need to start a trading card store there because then you could sell packs of cards and then go to one of the many pubs. There's almost as many pubs as there are churches in the 1 mile square that is this little village. Yeah, that's an interesting addition to my retirement plans. I do like that because I do like the idea of sitting by a fire in the pub with probably a pint of cider because I do like my cider, or maybe just a pop drink, a fizzy pop drink, or maybe by then they'll have some weird fermented thing that's not actually alcoholic. but still tastes good. And tearing open the booster packs. Oh my God, that'd be so much fun. All right, I have talked for an hour. I'm trying to give myself. I'm trying to limit my streams now, because I feel like I tend to natter on a little long. There's always the goodbye that Encriitis always laughs at, how long it takes me to get off these things. But yeah, I'm trying to make. I would rather it be short and sweet than long and too meandering. Although there is one thing I do want to share with you. This arrived the other day. This is quite possibly the solution to all of my table saw problems. Check this out. All right, here we go. Let me grab you the camera. I'm taking you with me. I'm taking you with me over here. This is my table saw. My table saw is not happy. My table saw does not spin properly. In fact, it makes horrendous noises, like someone is basically shaving a cat, shaving an electric cat with gardening shears. And it doesn't work. It blows fuses. It sucks. I've had this thing longer than I've had my son, and I don't want to let it go. And I have done everything I possibly can, pulling it apart, trying to get this piece to work again, to bring this back to life. And this is what I've discovered. I just want to make sure it's not plugged in. Okay, no, I'm good. I need to check that first. So check this out. I'm going to turn the light on this so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so this is the motor in here. I've checked the armature that's in there. I have changed. Hello. So I've checked the armature, which was very hard to. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm not sure that I got that right. But so I wasn't sure if the armature was working. I've changed the bearings. Both of the bearings, on like this bearing and the one right at the back there as well. Changed both of those bearings, pulled the entire thing apart, taken this thing off, cleaned everything, done everything I possibly can. And suddenly I had an epiphany. This is a speed controller, okay? This is a nice little piece of machinery. It is covered in dust. It is sort of sealed in bits of plastic and stuff. But I thought, just on the off chance, what if I bypass it? So, I took off the cables, I wired them together, and went directly from the mains into the motor. Guess who sounds a lot better when spinning like that? It actually worked. So, this part arrived the other day. This can be very hard to do with one hand. This part arrived the other day, which I ordered. This was, how much was this? Just like $60, I think, was this part. Which again is more money than I should be spending right now. But anyway, but I got it because you know, a new one of these is like $600 or $700. That's how much my wife loves me, that she bought me that back 20 years ago. So this arrived. This is the replacement speed controller, and I hunted high and low on YouTube for solutions to this problem. I could not figure out what it was. And then there was a video about this guy who bypassed this thing. And I thought, that's interesting. I wonder if that's the problem. It just seems weird to me that after 20 years, it wasn't a mechanical failure. Or maybe, you know, it's possible it was a combination, because I also changed the brushes, the little brushes that go in there. And the brushes just touch the side of the motor, and that's what gets it spinning, the electricity. So it's possible that it was a combination of the brushes and this. But this little unit now, I'm gonna wire this in. This should fix my table saw, because, like I say, it seems to spin fine without it right now. So I put the new one in, should work. And also, but it just seems so weird to me, and so counterintuitive, that it wasn't a mechanical failure over all these years. It was the electronics failed, which I wouldn't have thought. I just thought there's no moving parts. Why would that be the issue? Anyways, so that's my latest my latest experiment, and I will keep you posted. In fact, I might even set up a camera and see if I can film myself removing digits from my hand as I attempt to get it working again. But I'm very excited that it comes with cables attached, because instead I was scared I was going to have to solder these back in, which could be a bit fiddly. This way, I just can strip these off, wire them up, and the hope being I will have this fabulous Bosch table saw back up in action again. And I am so happy about that. You guys have been amazing, actually, because I've had a number of people make different suggestions and stuff to test, and it's been really fun working through, the various different potential problems that it could be. And I like I say, judging by the way it spun the other day, without this speed controller on it, I don't quite know why it would work without the speed controller. I guess this is just make sure it doesn't spin until it can spin no more. But I'm really excited to play with that and see if that gets working again. And I'm sure my wife will be thrilled that once again I'll have a spinning blade of doom to play with. It is amazing how often you need a table saw. I mean, when you're a nerd like me playing in the garage, the number of times that I've gone, oh God, it's broken, I can't use it. I was going to throw it out. I was getting to the point where I tried everything. I was like, and then literally I'd been patching the roof because that was leaking, and I came down and I was tired, and I'd done a little bit of fix up, honeydew stuff in the house. And then I was like, oh, I'm just tired. And then I was like, well, I wonder if, and I just literally went in and wired around this thing, wired out this speed control, and it worked perfectly. So, yeah. All right, that's it. I've bored you all to death now, so I should probably let you know. What component is that? A current limiter. It is known as let's see what it says on the box, shall we? What do they call it? They call it a speed governor. That's all it says. A speed governor. And I'll give you you can have a look at it. Let's see if you get it better. If I cover my face, see if it'll focus on that better. So that's it from that side. That's it from that side. The old one is just chock-a-block with dust. There's just dust everywhere. I noticed that this one actually there's an awful lot of this black plastic covering all of the components, which the other one does not have. The other one has certain components are covered with the black plastic, but not all of it. So they've obviously done a better job of in recent years in covering that up. Although I do see there's still spots that aren't covered. Well, anyways, look, if it lasts another 20 years, that'd be even better. So put a cap on the speed. Yeah, puts a cap on the speed, basically, yeah. If you want another hobby to add to this, oh, I know, amateur radio. I know. People have been saying I should get into ham radio since I was born, basically. Everyone's like, oh, my God, you will love ham radio. You will love ham radio. You've got to get into ham radio. I just feel like another hobby. I've got so many of these wonderful tools and things to work on that I never get time to. I feel like I need to sort of, I want to spend some time with the stuff I've got, make sure that I master that, and then I will move on to other things. Because, it's like the drawing every day. I got to focus, got to get a little focus. So that's what I'm working on. The other thing I'm really excited about, I got to say, is Agne, my wonderful friend from the European Space Agency, or connection to the European Space Agency, is setting me up with a couple more people to talk to. So next week I'm going to do a couple of pre-chats for a couple more I'm with Genius episodes where we get to talk to some people about some of the amazing stuff they're doing over there. I don't know why I'm so lucky to be able to do this stuff, but yeah, it's come up and I'm going to run with it. And Agnes just been amazing with that. I know she's no Cal the hammer. I know. Is Cal up, by the way? Is Cal up and around? Have we seen Cal at all in here? If not, everyone make sure to say hi to Cal, because Cal is wonderful. And yeah, but it's, hey, Cal's here. Yay, good, yay. But why am I not seeing Cal in the chat? Why don't I see that? Oh, wait a sec, I do now. Look at that. So multi-stream chat seems to work for both. Okay. Oh, I've got another question for you. Okay, before I go, I have a question for you all. Hello, Cal. Very much appreciate you being here. Thank you. I actually discorded with Cal yesterday to say thank you, because I, like I said, randomly showed up, threw myself in a blanket, and decided to do a horror stream. And Cal's like, what the hell is this crazy man doing? But here I am, helping him out anyways. And I do really appreciate that. But I got a question for you. I want to not capture, maybe it's the wrong word. I want to be able to cut and paste the entire chat that we did with that horror chat yesterday, and mine it for all of the movie recommendations and points that people wanted to make. I want to be able to call out a few of those things. And also, I just wanted as a reminder, and I wanted to put together a list of cool horror movies. So if someone's got an answer to that, I would love to know how to do that. Oh, Cal's still rolling her eyes at me. There you go. Everyone make sure to say hi to Cal. Hi, Cal. Hi, Cal. We love you. Just because it makes her really uncomfortable. That's why I just love doing that. On it, boss man. Was it Cal? You know how to do that? So Cal knows how to. Cal, do you know how to get how to cut and paste a chat? Because I started having to listen to the whole thing all over again, and I was just cutting and pasting it as it went along, and it was like, I cannot do this. This is ridiculous. It doesn't take too long. For horror movie, Sting from this year. Sting. It was a great chat yesterday, wasn't it, David Sands? I'm telling you. That's exactly. So you get ChatGPT to parse the chat. That's absolutely what I was going to do. But I was going to get ChatGPT to give you a nice little summary of things. But I have to provide it with that chat first. So someone said there was a chat log, but I couldn't find a chat log. There is no way but to be tortured and listen to you all over. What? No. There's got to be. Then that's stupid. Then there's no point in doing that then, because it's manual labor. Got to rewatch the whole thing twice. No, Anquiitis, we can't. That can't be the point. Anquiitis has just got to be loving this, because I was threatening to leave how long ago? 11 minutes ago. I said, oh, that's it. It's an hour, and Anquiitis has already started the stopwatch on that, I'm sure. Once on YouTube and once on Twitch. No way. Oh, that's ridiculous. Seriously? Well, then, wait a second, but I can cut and paste it here, can I not? No, I can't. I was thinking maybe I could just cut and paste the whole chat while I'm live, and then I've got it. Would you ever play a character on a Walking Dead franchise? Are you kidding? In a freaking second. I love that. I mean, what's so funny is I didn't watch the show, but the comic book. Oh my God, I love the comic book. I struggled with the show because it was different than the comics. But man, you want to just forget horror, forget zombies, forget comics. The Walking Dead comic graphic novel series is beautifully written, just extraordinary, so engaging, so just sucked you in. I mean, there's a lot going on there. That is just not, that is like comic book, heaven. It's so beautifully written, and it makes you think, and it makes you, I got angry, I got sad, oh my God, brilliantly done. And I struggled with the series because I was like, it's not the comic book. I love the black and the white. It's just amazing. Anyway, so there you go. He's an actor. Getting a coffee is manual labor. Oh, Cal, snap, Cal. Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm burning up. Burn me real good. All right, get out of here, everyone. Anquiitis has already had plenty of time to laugh at me for my 15 minutes of wrapping up. So Twitch chat back end is IRC. Yeah, it's based on IRC. You can connect it with any IRC program. You can log the chat that way. Won't work for past streams, but moving forward it can. So I have to set up something to capture the chat in IRC. So basically I need to code something in, yes. What about YouTube? How does YouTube work? YouTube is really weird for the streaming thing because, and this I'm beginning to realize why Cal hates YouTube for streaming. I stream to both now. I think the stream struggles with it a bit. I get the sense that my computer seems to be struggling more with the two streams than the one. I don't know whether the encoding's happening on my end. I find that hard to believe, but anyways, whatever. And we've had issues with sound sync and all sorts of stuff. But I'm going to both because, frankly, I live my life on YouTube. I watch YouTube all the time. I think I'm, I say I love horror movies. I will watch horror movies, and then the rest of the time I'm watching YouTube videos because, frankly, just learning stuff. It's just talk about like a lifelong learning buffet. I mean, that's YouTube is just amazing for that. All right. Yes. MIRC is really flexible. Pancreatitis, I actually did a bit of Python programming around that originally. When I first learned that Twitch was using IRC as the chat, I was like, this is amazing. We can automate all sorts of stuff. Of course, I didn't do any of it. I just played with it on my own computer. But and I think, Cal, you set up our bot for us, didn't you? Maybe our bot has a feature to. Is it possible that? Oh, I know. Adam Savage is fantastic. I mean, are you kidding? Mythbusters is like my favorite show on the planet, and that's, if I could do one more thing in my life to make it complete, there'd be a few, but one of them would be doing a Mythbusters style show. I love that. I've got a pitch right now. I'm not sure what to do with it because there's a couple actually, but one of them is literally just traveling around Canada and talking to geniuses, like just talking to people doing cool things in Canada, like in the science and technology realm. I just want to get an RV. I'd like to get like a solar powered RV of some sort, and literally just sort of zigzag across Canada, visiting, universities and schools and entrepreneurs and remote communities and stuff, doing cool stuff with technology and science and stuff. So I just think it'd be amazing. Everyone can put a mod on it. Yes, it's true. IRC bot as a Docker container almost certainly exists. Jesus, wow. Okay, well, it's getting real complicated. Maybe someone coded on GitHub. You know what? There is a chat capture on Dan Watt. Yes, Dan Watt. Sorry, you're right. There is a GitHub capture feature for sure. Where you can put in a stream and it will pull it'll pull the stream from something. But I was reticent to use something that I didn't understand, giving it permission to access the Twitch channel and everything. So, the bot does. Cal, you're not a hammer. You're a flower. Oh my God, that would be amazing. Then fantastic. The whole of yesterday's stream is on there, but not for long. Well, grab it. Go get it. How do we get Cal? How do we get it? We got to get it now. I work much better under threat of death. Hey, hello. I like Rodney. Respect from Russia. Well, respect right back to you. Thank you so much for joining us. You're still here. I know I'm still here. I know, it's sad, isn't it? Grab it like it's ZPM. I don't grab those ZPMs. You don't know where they've been. All right, Cal, I'm hoping you're going to explain this to me because I'd love to be able to save that. Actually, I'd love to be able to save all the chats because it'd be really nice to save the chat and have it have ChatGPT do a little summary of it for us. Because I miss so much stuff. Dave's RV Life would be an amazing stream series. Sandman, that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing. Nowadays, do you do a TV series or you just do it on YouTube? Like, I say just on YouTube. It'd be much harder on YouTube because I'd have to get some money from somewhere. I couldn't afford just to get an RV and take off. I thought it'd be fun to find like a Canadian RV company. If anyone knows anybody who works with or for an RV company, let me know. Because maybe there's some kind of maybe I could do like a promotional thing. Like it could be like brought to you by Canada-wide RV or something. And just get like some kind of fun, fancy, futuristic looking RV and just like tool around the country, meeting geniuses. Like I'd love to do like I'm with Genius, but like on the road. You know what I mean? Like that would just be a really fun way to do it. I say Canada because I'm in Canada and it feels like I should be, giving back to Canada somehow. And obviously that's the market I'm in right now. Eventually I'd love to do it in England as well, although I don't want to drive an RV through all those little tiny roads. Maybe that's a motorcycle. I'd die. But yeah, there's that too. Oh my God. Okay, so you totally distracted me. Well done. Pancreatitis. What are we at? Almost 20 minutes. Not bad. All right. Start a fundraiser. How much do you need to raise for something like that, though? Hitchhiking with Hewlett. Riding in RVs with Genius. Hitching with Hewlett. I like hitching with Hewlett. 19 and change. Thanks, Pancreatitis. All right. DM'd you a link for a chat downloader I've used in the past. Oh, my God. Legend of Stash. Thank you very much. Legend of Slash. Yes. You're dark blue on black. It's very hard to read. All right. Hello there, Derek. Just in time for me to leave. It's time you came back to FedCon. Yeah, no kidding. Why am I not in FedCon? Where the hell Why? I was supposed to come to FedCon and there was a pandemic, so I didn't go. And then nothing ever happened. I never went back or anything. I should definitely go back. I'd love to. Thanks to the stream, man. Best of luck with the saw repair. I will keep you posted. Thank you for watching. Please, like I say, do me a favor. Techbandits.org. Go check that out. If you're feeling like you've got the cash and the desire, maybe check out Patreon and hop on that or help out with the Tech Bandit stuff. Like I say, I'd like to make this more of a regular thing. I'd like to make it a business. Frankly, I always feel like the money part is always a bit crass, but the reality is, I feel like, I pay for a number of subscriptions and stuff to things that I enjoy. And I feel like, I think we could do that. And I think we could actually have some fun doing it. And I think we could create some new stuff. I mean, my son laughs and says that I'm going to be Clarkson's Farm. Basically, I'm going to be doing Clarkson's Farm only with no money, as he puts it. But in a weird way, Clarkson's Farm meets MythBusters meets Cosmos. I mean, God, I'd love to do, or Junkyard Wars, like that kind of stuff. Like just a weird mishmash of stuff, like a whole bag of squirrels. You know what I mean? Maybe there you go. That's the title right there. Bag of squirrels. There you go. Bag of squirrels with Hewlett. All right, everyone. I will say, until we geek again, I will say, be brave, be kind, be brilliant, and thank you. I really like. I cannot tell you how much I love doing this, and it would be very depressing if there was no one at the other end of this conversation. I really appreciate y'all for being there, especially those of you like Cal, who are just being so incredibly ridiculously supportive over the years. So all right, now I'm mumbling because I'm just getting awkward. So.